Hello, boys and girls. So today you're going to plant your own bean seed. Now, I'd like us to share a little bit of information about the plant life cycle of the bean. So the bean plant life cycle. So this is what's going to happen when you have planted your bean. Are we ready? The planted bean seed germinates and a shoot emerges. Can you see the green shoot there? This will usually begin after 2 to 3 days. So that shoot, when you've planted your bean seed today, it will only take 2 or 3 days for that shoot to begin to emerge. Wow, it's fast, isn't it? The bean seed will start to take root. Here we go, there's the roots there. And a stem will appear. The bean uses the food in the soil to grow taller. So here we are, here's the roots. You know that the roots go down and help to keep the bean safe and stable in the soil. And then, of course, can you see that there where I'm moving that around? That's where the stem is going to grow. And look, it grows bigger and bigger with time. The bean plant will then flower and wait to be pollinated. So can you see where these flowers are? Can you see those flowers on there, on your bean plant? Now, pollinated, when something is pollinated, that means that the male part of the flower, the pollen from the male part of the flower will rub or drop onto a pollinator, sometimes insects, sometimes bees and things like that. That pollinator will then take the pollen to another flower where it sticks to the stigma, and that's the female part, the girl part. And that's how the plant makes sure that it will grow lots of beans. It's called the fertilized part. So you've got to have that. That part is a very, very important part of the process. And do you know, boys and girls, that is why, especially honeybees and other bees and lots of different creatures, they are so important because they help our plants to grow. Without them, we wouldn't have our plants, would we? After pollination, so after this has happened, the ovary of the plant will gradually form into a pod of beans. So that's how the beans will grow. They will form into a pod, which is what we pick and eat. So that ovary part of the plant will grow the pod and those beans will appear there. But it will only happen, of course, as I've already said, if the male part from the anthers has gone to the stigma, to the female part. Very interesting, isn't it? So here we have the bean life cycle. There's the bean and it's planted with its roots and its stem growing. And here we are. Look, it's getting taller and the flowers begin to grow. And after pollination, look, can you see the beans in their pods growing there? It's amazing, really, isn't it? We're going to finish with some interesting facts. The world's largest bean pods can grow up to 5 feet long. That's nearly as tall as Mrs. Arthur. Beans are the only farmed plant that are good for the soil. So they're really good for the soil as its roots add nitrogen to it. Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? So they're really good for the soil. A bean is a pulse. Now, some of you have been using pulses last week in all of your seed collage work, haven't you? A bean is a pulse, which is part of the leguminosae family. It also includes peas and lentils. Now, so, boys and girls, when you plant your beans today, or perhaps whenever you're going to do it, remember what your plant will need. It will need water and it will need light. So you will need to plant it and keep it somewhere that you think it's going to have enough light. Now, what I'd like you to do, maybe your adult at home can help you with this. Take a photograph every few days to see what changes happen and how it grows. Bye for now, boys and girls.